guys, welcome back to the channel. And yeah, it's been a little bit since we've been in the shop. I've been super busy with life and moving and other such things. Personal daily driver, been doing some stuff on that. Haven't had much time in the shop with Arnie, but there has been some progress since the last time. I think I said I was taking some lines to get the Hydro Boost all plumbed up. So we got that under control. We'll show you here. We got the Hydro Boost mounted here. I actually shortened this back the 2 inches that I originally had it stuck out. I put it back there just because of the gappage, as well as the air intake was interfering with the master cylinder there. But anyways, we simplified things. We went from the stock Dodge 05 Hydro Boost lines. We cut those off and we put a pressure fitting on there to go to JIC, sorry. And so we did that on all the lines, including the power steering box there from the 99 F-350, because we didn't want to go and figure out the lines from the 99 F-350 to the 05 Dodge Hydro Boost to the 93 Dodge power steering pump. So what we did is we simplified everything, we cut it off, and we put in the JIC fittings. So we got that, that's all plumbed in. We got the return lines to a Y here because the first gen only had one fitting for the return line. It's a T, but I really wanted a Y. I'll probably get a Y down the road, but we got a T for now. And anyways, other than that, we got some brake lines here. We got the rear and the front. So the brake lines, that's all sealed up. There's no fluid in there right now. We got the steering shaft. That guy's all welded up, bolted on. Has to come out one more time. I got a fitting on here incorrect. And it's all one piece, so it's got to kind of slide out, but it's collapsible. We utilized the 99 F-350 piece here to the 67 Ford. We got the radiator pretty much plumbed up. We got the lower radiator hose figured out. We went from 2.5 inch to 2 inch to 1.75 inch, and we just used a piece of muffler piping in that. And I was a little bit worried about it blowing off. So I actually made this small little contraption to make beads on the muffler tubing. It's nothing special. It just goes up and down with this tensioner. And it created actually some pretty sweet beads. Here's an 1.5 inch muffler tubing. It made a nice bead on there. So we did that on there for the 2 inch to connect those hoses. We got 1 inch inside diameter hose so we can block off the bottom of the radiator. It had a 1 inch line going to the overflow tank on the stock 99 F-350 because it was a closed loop. So we got the 1 inch hose there that we can just put a bung on there and close it off. We got a new heater core for the truck because the other one's a little bit munched. We got a little bit of heater core line here. We have a sump pump for the fuel. I went with a sump so we don't have to run any electronic fuel pumps or anything. It's just a draw straw. It'll draw the diesel. That's all we need for the first gen. And then we got some intercooler piping here. We're going to figure something out with the intercooler. We're going to chop these up. We're going to attempt to TIG weld. I've never TIG welded before. Probably maybe 5 minutes on the TIG welder ever. So that's going to be interesting. And if we can't get it TIG welded, what we're going to do is we're just going to tack weld it and we're going to send it off to someone to do some nice stitching on there, just so we're creating the boost and we don't have any pinhole leaks in anything. So yeah, that's kind of bringing you guys up to speed where it's at. I don't think there's anything else really to go over. We got some fuel line here to run to the fuel tank. And the fuel tank we're going to use is the 99 F-350 tank. It's going to be in-frame tank. I was straying away from it originally just because the transfer case fill and drain plugs on the transfer case is going to be so close to the fuel tank that you'd have to drop the tank to change the fluid. But what we're going to do is change the fluid on the transfer case when it all comes out to get painted. And we'll probably never have to change it again. I mean, it's not like this thing's going to see another 500,000 miles or anything. And some guys never change their transfer case fluid. So that's the plan there. We'll get that tank mounted there. We'll get the sump pump in. Yeah, I had to adjust the brake pedal where the pin that goes to the master cylinder. Had to adjust that, stick it out 2 inches on that guy. There's the temporary steering wheel. That's all I have right now. And the steering column is in there. So that's kind of where we're at, guys. So we're going to get the front rad support back mounted on, get the intercooler in place, and start figuring out some intercooler piping. Yeah, other than that, let's get her done. Okay, guys, fast forward a little bit. We got the inner fenders bolted on the truck here. We got the rad support. We got the intercooler in. Just so we can do mock-up on the intercooler piping. Obviously this guy's going to change. The upper rad support is bolted on. It's nice and solid. That's where it sits. So we're going to get the air filter on, and then we're going to start playing around with the intercooler piping, see where we need to splice it and tack weld, and then hopefully do some nice TIG welding, but I have my doubts. It's pretty difficult from what I understand, and I got no one to show me what to do, so it doesn't even matter anyways. So let's get the intercooler piping kind of mocked up and see what we can come up with. Okay guys, so this is going to take a lot of brainstorming as to exactly how I'm going to run this piping. It's going to be challenging. Yeah. I tried clocking the turbo around the bottom, but you can't because there's an oil line there. And there's only so many pieces, so we got to make both sides work. And yeah, I'll turn the camera off here and I'll come back to you guys when I have a better plan. Okay guys, this is what I've come up with here. We got a 90 going here, and then we got a 90 kind of going down into the intercooler. As you can see, there's a little bit of gappage here, so we need to cut this guy down. And then I think I'm just gonna roll a bead on there with my fancy bead roller that I made. We're gonna have to cut this one back a little bit, this one back a little bit, and we might have to cut this one down just a hair. It's really close though. It's not looking too bad. And then on this side here, we got a straight pipe here coming from the intercooler here, going to a 90 here. And as you can see, that's getting pretty close to the snorkel right there, so we got to cut this guy back a little bit and roll a couple beads, but it's looking not too bad. So I'm going to take some measurements. We're going to pull those pieces out of there, we're going to chop them, and then we're going to roll a bead. And it looks like with those 90 elbows, we might not even have to TIG weld anything if we can get a nice bead rolled on there. So yeah, I'll pull that stuff off after I take some measurements, and then I'll set you up on the tripod and show you my little bead roller thing that I made. So we'll catch you in a minute. Okay guys, so this one here, we got to cut 3.5 inches off, and then we're going to roll a bead on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut 3.5 inches first, and then I'm going to take the piece that I cut off, and I'm going to do a practice roll on there just to kind of achieve this. Don't want to go too deep. I think it's going to be way easier than the other one, because the other one was about the same thickness, but it's steel, and this is aluminum, so it should be softer. So let's get 3.5 inches cut off there. Let's do a test bead roll, and then we'll roll the actual piece. Here we got the chunk that we cut off, so we're going to try and roll a bead on there first. I'm just going to clean this up on the grinder here. Okay guys, so it's been quite a while since I used this little contraption, but this is how it kind of works. Is the tube goes in here, and this just kind of puts pressure on it like so. You can even turn it by hand here for the first rotation, just to kind of put a dimple in it. Then all I have is I think it's a 1/2 inch on the end of this bolt here, and we just kind of allow it to turn the piece as I rotate it by hand, making sure it's pressed up against there. It's nothing super high tech, but it gets the job done. So here we go. Okay guys, so after much struggle, we were able to make a bead there, if the camera would focus. So that's the bead we made. That's the factory bead. I think I went a little bit too far, but we had to screw around kind of with my little contraption there a little bit, do some adjusting, but we're going to clean up the actual piece now and attempt to roll a bead on there. So here we go. Okay guys, we got the end kind of cleaned up here. So we're gonna try to run it through this bead machine. Hopefully it goes well. Feeling a little bit sketched out. But anyways, here we go. Broke the nut off. That's what happens when you have homemade garbage. But let's try to roll the bead, see what happens. There she goes. Well, we got some kind of a bead on there, and this thing broke. I think it was just the bolt that broke, so I got more of those. So yeah, that's one kind of on there. It's not the prettiest one that I've ever made, but hey, not too bad. Okay guys, after Okay guys, it's been a big battle trying to get these beads rolled, but I thought that I should record. This is the last bead that we need to roll. I'll roll it, and you guys can see, and then I'll lay it out and I'll show you guys what we came up with. So here we go. And that's usually what happens when You finally got it. So there's the bead that it rolled. Not too bad for a homemade contraption with a little frustration. So I'll lay this out and I'll show you guys what we got. Okay guys, so looking at the front of the truck here, we got the intake side. This goes to the intercooler. There's the bead that we rolled on that side. That one still has a factory. Same as this guy. This is a factory bead, and this is the bead we rolled. And then these guys, I think, oh, there's still one factory bead here. This is the turbo side. This goes to the turbo. This goes to the intercooler. So that's what we got, guys. I'm going to get some pipe clamps on them. I'll get them into the truck, and then I'll show you what she looks like. Okay guys, that's what the turbo side's gonna look like. Comes out, does a 90, goes down and 90s into the intercooler. So now let's get the intake side on there. So there we have it, guys. We got the intercooler piping on and finished. Got to the intake, down to the elbow, then into the intercooler. Other side. From the intercooler, 90, elbow, 90, into the turbo. Okay guys, that's going to wrap it up for today. Another milestone hit. Intercooler is a continuous loop, so that's a big win. And I got the air cleaner on there. I think that's how it's going to go. I see other guys, they do the same thing. I do want to draw cold air from somewhere, figure that out later date. But anyways, next we're going to seal up the coolant system, get that bung on there. Just hadn't had time today, focused on the intercooler, getting that all cut, beaded up, 100%. And yeah, we still have to make some mounts here for the bottom of the intercooler, but that shouldn't be too difficult. And then we'll weld it into the rad support there. Yeah, so after the coolant system is 100%, we'll get the heater core in. Then we're gonna go to the fuel tank. And once we have fuel there, then we're gonna, I think, start doing some wiring. I wanna get this thing to be able to fire up, cooled, the fans running, and then we're gonna send it off to the driveline shop, get a couple of drive shafts made, and then we should be able to move it on its own power. Yeah, cross your fingers. Anyways, thanks for tuning in to Chili Willy's Media, and we're working on Project Arnie. If you like these types of videos, make sure to smash the subscribe button, tell your buddies, and until next time, peace.